Hello students, as we discussed about atoms in the previous video and we also discussed about the mass of an atom, that is atomic mass. Let us talk about how the atom exists. Atoms are usually exist in the form of molecules. So we need to discuss about molecules. Atoms combines to form molecule. Here I have taken some atoms, that is chlorine atom. This is also a chlorine atom. So two chlorine atoms combines. You can see this is one chlorine atom. This is one chlorine atom. Two chlorine atoms combine to form chlorine molecule. So when I talk about a chlorine atom, Cl is a chlorine atom, but when the two atoms of chlorine combines, it forms chlorine molecule, which is represented by Cl2. So chlorine atom is represented by symbol Cl, as we discussed already the symbols for atom. Chlorine atom represented by Cl and the chlorine molecule is represented by Cl2. So from this it is clear that the molecules are formed by the combining of atoms. Hydrogen are quite familiar for you. Hydrogen, it is a gas. It is made up of two atoms of hydrogen. When the two atoms of hydrogen combines, then it forms hydrogen molecule. So how we represent an hydrogen molecule? We represent by writing the symbol of hydrogen atom and we'll keep 2 down. So why we are keeping 2 here? This 2 represent that there are 2 number of hydrogen atom in it. So the hydrogen molecule we represent with the symbol H2. But the hydrogen atom is represented by the symbol H. So from this it is clear that why we are writing only H here, because H is the atom, H2 is the molecule. We can call it as the two atoms of hydrogen combines to form molecule. So in a molecule, the two atoms are bounded by a chemical bond. That is, they are held together by a strong attractive forces. That is called as a chemical bond. Chemical bond, that means it is an attractive force found between the atoms that it make together in a molecule. So we'll be going to discuss about the chemical bond in the further classes. So let us define what is a molecule. A molecule is a group of two or more atoms that are chemically bonded together, that is tightly held together by an attractive force. So that means in a molecule 2 to 3 atoms, or we can say more than number of atoms are present, and each atoms are bounded with each other tightly by a attractive force, which is nothing but called as a chemical bond. And in a molecule, we can say that these are the smallest particle of an element or a compound that is capable of independent existence and show all the properties of that substance. So that means that molecule is a substance which has a independent existence. That means it can exist independently, like the case of water molecule. Water molecule can exist in the form of H2O, that is it can exist independently, in which it is made up of 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen atom. They are capable of independent existence and show all the properties of that substance. That means H2O shows all the properties of that substance, that is water. So that is about a molecule. So molecule, how we define a molecule? Molecule are made up of 2 to more number of atoms which are chemically bonded together. That is more important here. These atoms must be chemically bonded. then only we can call it as a molecule. And chemically bonded means there is a attractive force between them. Molecules can be classified as two types, that is molecules of elements and molecules of compounds. So let us discuss this. What is this molecules of element and the molecules of compound? There are some molecules like argon, helium, neon. These are usually gaseous elements. These are existing in the nature in a single form. In a single form means they are existing not in the combined form. They are freely existing in the nature. That means it is made up of only the single atom. You can find there is only single atom. Such type of molecules which is made up of only one atom of that element is called as a monoatomic molecule. So what is monoatomic molecule? Mono words relate to single. So single atom, that means the molecule which is made up of single atom, that is called as monoatomic molecule. So as it is shown in the figure itself, you can find there is only single atom. Helium is only a single atom. Neon existing as a single atom. Argon also exists as a single atom in the nature. That means they are very less reactive type of elements. They will not usually react with other elements. So because of this reason, in the nature, they are existing in the free state. We can say they exist in the nature in the free state. So such type of molecules, because are made up of only single atom of that element, is called as monoatomic molecule. But there are some molecules which is made up of two atoms of the same element. When you take the example which is shown here, like here hydrogen molecule. Hydrogen molecule, it is made up of two hydrogen atom, that is H and H. Two hydrogen makes H2. Nitrogen, it is made up of two nitrogen atom, then it is called as nitrogen molecule. When two oxygen atom combines, it forms oxygen molecule. When two fluorine atom combines, it forms fluorine molecule. So in all these examples, what it is clear that the two atoms of the same element, you can find here same element. Why I am saying same element? Like the case of hydrogen, this is also H, this is also H. That means two H is combining. Two hydrogen atom, that is atoms of same element are combining, and two atoms are combining. So it gives rise to a molecule H2. Similarly, N2, it is made up of combining of two nitrogen atoms. Oxygen is made up of combining two oxygen atom. Fluorine is made up of combining two fluorine atoms. Similarly, for the case of chlorine, Cl2, bromine, Br2 and I2. In all these, we can find it out how we are making the formula for this molecule. O2. That means this 2 represent, here the 2 represent, that is the number of atoms. So there are 2 number of oxygen atom, therefore we can call it as it is a molecule, and that's why we are writing as O2. Similarly, if I am writing a chlorine molecule, how I am writing? What is the symbol for chlorine? That is Cl. Cl is the symbol for chlorine atom. But if I am writing a chlorine molecule, and in the nature, chlorine exists in the form of molecule, that is Cl2. So what it shows that Cl2 means there are 2 number of chlorine atoms in a chlorine molecule. So this is a chlorine molecule which is made up of 2 chlorine atoms due to the chemical bond formation between them. So that is about the molecules, and in all these cases you can find that all these molecules are made up of two atoms. Therefore, we can call it as such type of molecule as diatomic molecules. What is diatomic molecule? The molecules made of two atoms are called diatomic. The word itself, it is clear. Di means two. Diatomic, that means two atoms. The molecules which is made up of two atoms, that type of molecule is called as diatomic. Just now the previous one we have discussed that having single atom, therefore we have used the word mono. But here two atoms are there, so we are using the word di. Di relates to two. What the di relates the word? It relates to number 2. So it is made up of two atoms, therefore it is called as diatomic. Here also all the are of same element. It's a combination of same element. The oxygen molecule, it exists in the nature in the form of diatomic molecule, and also it exists in the form of triatomic molecule, that is ozone. Formula for ozone is O3, but the formula of oxygen is O2. Look at the difference here. What do you find the difference here? O2, that is it is made up of two oxygen atom, that is O2. And if three oxygen atoms are combining, and if there is a chemical bond formation between the three oxygen atom, then it is called as O3. O3 is different from O2. How they are different? Because it is made up of two oxygen atom and it is made up of three oxygen atom, and it makes the molecule itself different. So there are two molecules of oxygen, that is the ozone molecule and the oxygen molecule. Even there are some of the elements in which, like phosphorus, the symbol for phosphorus is P. In this, there are 4 number of phosphorus atoms can be combined together. So that is called as tetra word. We are using the tetraatomic word because tetra relates to number 4. Here 1, 2, 3, 4. So total 4 number of phosphorus atom are binded. Then the word will be using here tetraatomic. That means the phosphorus molecule exists in the nature in the form of P4. That is a molecule of phosphorus, and which is having 4 number of atoms of phosphorus. Therefore it is called as tetraatomic. So is the word is clear to you why it is called as tetra? Because of it consists of 4 number of phosphorus atom. Therefore we are using the word tetra. So phosphorus in the nature exists in the form of tetraatomic. Similarly, sulfur. In sulfur, there are, in the nature, you can find it out, it exists in the form of a molecule where it is made up of a number of atoms binded together. So when you count it in this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So total 8 numbers of atoms are there. So sulfur in the nature exists in the form of S8. So here the S represent the symbol of sulfur and 8 represent the number of atoms which is present in the sulfur molecule. So instead of using the further name, we'll be using the name here poly. Poly means more than the 4 number, we can take it as poly. So some of the molecules exist in the nature in the form of polyatomic molecule. So that is sulfur. From this, we can conclude that atoms are existing in the combined state and some of the are existing in a single form. That means the molecule which is made up of single atom, they are called as monoatomic. Examples are helium, neon, argon. These are existing in the nature in a single form, we can say in the free state, that is not in the combined state. So since it is made up of single atom, therefore we use a word monoatomic, made up of single atom. Some of the molecule exist in the nature in a diatomic form. Diatomic form means it is made up of two atoms. So that type of molecule is called as diatomic. Examples are hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen molecule, fluorine molecule, chlorine, bromine molecule, iodine molecule. These all are molecule, and in the nature they are existing in the diatomic form. That means the molecule which is made up of two atoms. Similarly, there is triatomic molecule, that is the molecule which is made up of three atoms. Example is ozone, which is made up of three atoms of oxygen. Next we have tetraatomic, the molecule which is made up of four atoms, that is called as tetraatomic, and polyatomic, which have greater number of atoms combined, that is called as polyatomic. Example is sulfur. So these all are the molecules, and when you compare this one, all these molecules are made up of atoms of same element. When you compare the case of diatomic molecule, you can find that both the atoms of fluorine are same, that is fluorine are combining. So all are made up of same atoms. You can find that all are made up of atoms of same element. So what we can call this type of molecules? We can call it as they are the molecules of elements. So what is a molecule of element? That is the molecules which is made up of combining the atoms of same element is called as molecules of elements. But in nature, we come across a various type of molecules which is made up of atoms of different element. Let us take the case of water. Water is made up of two hydrogen and one oxygen. So H is representing hydrogen, O is representing oxygen. So hydrogen and oxygen, these are the atoms of different element. So this molecule is actually made up of atoms of different element. Similarly, when you take the case of ammonia, it is made up of one nitrogen and three hydrogen. So nitrogen and hydrogen are the atoms of different element. So similarly, the case of hydrochloric acid, that is made up of one hydrogen and one chlorine. So both the atoms are different because one is the hydrogen atom, the other one is chlorine atom. So what we can say that such type of molecule are called as molecules which is made up of combining the atoms of different elements. Such type of molecule is called as molecule of compounds. So water, ammonia, hydrochloric acid and many other examples are there which are called as molecules of compound, or instead of that we can just word we can use, that is compounds. So what is a compound? Compound is actually a molecule which is made up of 2 to 3 different number of atoms of different elements. That is called as compounds. And always they are combining in a definite ratio. So let us first define what is molecule of compound. Atoms of different element. That is more important word here. Atoms of different elements joined together in a definite proportion to form molecules of compound. That means they are combining, and always the combination takes place in definite proportion. As we have previously discussed about the law of definite proportion, in which we have discussed that there is a definite proportion in which the atoms are combining. So what is a molecule of compound? Atoms of different elements join together in a definite proportion to form molecules of compounds. Examples are hydrochloric acid, water, ammonia, and so many other examples are there. So, as we have discussed that in the law of definite proportion, there is a definite ratio in which the atoms of different elements are combining. Let us take one case, water. What is the formula for water? You are familiar with the formula H2O. What it shows that H2O, it is made up of two hydrogen atoms. It is made up of two hydrogen atoms and single oxygen atom. So what is the ratio on the basis of number of atoms? When you count the number of atoms, the ratio of H is to O ratio. H is to O ratio, that is number of hydrogen and number of oxygen ratio. When you find it out, 2 is to 1. 2 means hydrogen. There are two number of hydrogen in water and there are single oxygen atom in the water. So what is the H is to O ratio? That is the number of atom ratio. It is not by mass. It is the ratio by number of atoms. When you count the number of atoms, there are two hydrogen atom and one oxygen atom. So what is the ratio between them? That is 2 is to 1 ratio. That is the ratio depending upon the number of atom. It is not mass. I told you, depending upon the mass, the ratio will be 1 is to 8 for the case of hydrogen and oxygen in water. But this is the ratio that is depending upon the number of atoms of hydrogen and oxygen. The ratio is 2 is to 1. So, from this it is clear that the atoms are combining, the atoms of different elements are combining in a definite ratio, then only it makes compounds. So in this video, we discussed about two types of molecules, that is molecules of elements and molecules of compounds. Molecules of elements, when the 1 or 2 to 3 number of atoms of same element are combining, then it is called as molecule of element. And if different element, their atoms are combining, then it is called as molecules of compound. So in the next video, we'll be discussing about the atomicity for these molecules. Thank you everyone.